Okay. Yeah, okay. So I'm the last one, so we are a bit overrun, so sorry about that. I'll try to wrap up nicely. I'm going to talk about a very light topic, but before that, let me just introduce myself. I'm Jinglun. Yeah, so I'm in sales for the past 12 years. So I like talking to people, but this is a different ball game, talking to a lot of people at one time. Yeah, so I'll try to make it interesting. Yeah. Use this. Okay, so today's topic is very light. So we're just saying like why we should travel when you get a chance to. I come from a middle income family, so when I was young, I don't get a lot of opportunity to actually travel. The furthest I went, when I recall, is at is basically Genting in Malaysia. Yeah. So when I grew up, I actually tell myself, if I ever get a chance, I would like to go out and see the world. Because I feel that when you travel, you actually learn a lot of lessons in life. Yeah. So, but that's talking about traveling, there's always this dilemma that we all face. When we are young, like people still studying, like you guys, you have time, you have a lot of energy, but the money issue comes in. So like for myself, when I'm working now for about 12 years, so in Singapore we have about 14 days of leave, but that's a scam actually, because most of the time there's no people to cover you at all. So even if you go on leave, you need to work, right? So you have no time, you have some money, but and the work will actually tie you down, so you have not much energy at all to go traveling. And by the time when you work until you retire, so you see, you have a lot of money and you have a lot of time, but that's the point, that's the time where you actually have no energy to travel. Yeah. So I will just share 3 lessons that I have actually learned from my travels today. The first lesson I will talk about is making a difference. Yeah, have you heard the starfish story? Not the Patrick starfish. Yeah. So the starfish story is making a difference is one that actually I got from my university time. So it goes like this. So one day there was a young man on the beach, walking on the beach just before dawn. So he was walking. Then he saw an old man from afar. A frail old man was actually picking out starfish and tossing them back into the sea. So out of curiosity, he actually walked towards the old man and actually talked to him. Sir, why are you doing like tossing the starfish back to the sea? So the old man explained to him, if the starfish are stranded, by the time the morning sun comes up, they will actually die. So I'm trying to save them. Then the young man actually looked around. Wow, there's like hundreds and thousands of starfish on that stranded beach itself. So he said, but how can you make a difference to all this? There are so many of them. So the old man took up the starfish. You make a difference to this one. So he tossed it back to the sea. Okay, so that's the story. Yeah. My encounter with this making a difference lesson actually comes in my visit to my factory in Czech Republic. Okay. I was like selected for this training. It was a short trip, so I managed to get in a day for myself. And I lived just across this mall in the hotel. And as a typical Singaporean, when you see cheap things like chocolates and candy, what do? I stock up a lot of them. Okay? And it's quite useful because I like to play soccer, and this actually makes a quick breakfast for me during my time. And so, after the training was quite boring, frankly. So after the training, I went back to the capital city of Czech Republic, which is Prague. And I joined this day tour by Sentiments. I think if you all went to Europe, you guys will have encountered this before. It's a free tour, free. Okay, so they will bring you around the city and explain to you. I find this is more engaging than like just going around taking pictures, because most of the time I take the picture, I don't know what I'm taking when I come back to Singapore as well. So, but the 3 things I remember from the tour is basically the Charles Bridge, which connects the old town to the Prague Castle, and also the oldest astronomical clock in Prague Square. So these are the 3 things I remember. And by the time the tour concluded, what happened? We are supposed to tip the guide, because it's a free tour, but this is how they survive and how they make money, right? So I tried to look for my wallet and I realized, gosh, my wallet is gone. So, and I don't know whether it's lucky or not, that was the first time I put all my money inside the wallet. Because as an avid traveler myself, there's a rule that you don't put all your money into the same place, like placing all the eggs in one basket. Yeah, so that was the time I put all the money inside the wallet and the wallet is gone. So what do? I actually embarked on a quest to find my wallet. So I would trace back all the way on the route that we have taken the tour, but it doesn't have a fairy tale ending. So by evening, I conclude that the quest is a failure. So the next place I go to is police station. Yeah, and Czech Republic, people in Czech don't really speak very good English. So I have to wait in the police station for them to arrange for a translator. And in that room, together with me was another couple and two teenagers. Yeah, I was check, as in, apparently it's losing things in Prague is quite common. So, while checking and waiting for the lady to come and take my report, I only remember, the next thing I remember was actually, I asked the lady, because it's my last day in Prague, right? So I need to make my way to the airport the next day. Yeah, so I tell her, I have no money, how do I get onto the train and on the bus and to the airport? Then she said, you have no money, they can't find you, right? So, okay, fair enough. I was expecting her to give me some pass or something, but in the end I didn't get it. Then when I was about to leave, this couple, the guy from the couple actually come over and can pass me this $100, 100 kronas. Yeah, she said that, take this. It may not be a lot, but I hope it can help you. Yeah, so I was like stunned by his kind gesture, and I didn't even talk to him. I was like talking to the translator only to take my report. And with that, he actually made a difference to me. Even though this 100 kronas, to put into perspective, is less than $10 Singapore dollar. Yeah, but he just helped a stranger in need because he heard that I have lost my wallet. Yeah, so with that, I actually keep it till today. And like what Steve Jobs said, you won't look forward connecting the dot. Remember, I bought a lot of chocolates, right? That's how I survived for dinner that day. Yeah, the next day, I made my way. And you know, in Europe, they actually don't have gantry or anything. So you can just walk through and just pray that the conductor don't come and spot check you. Yeah, so I basically made my way to the airport. And I just showed the bus driver my police report, and I made my way back to Singapore. The funny thing is that when I reached Singapore, my girlfriend at that time, she was very upset with me. She said I didn't bring any souvenirs for her, other than the chocolates and the candies. So another lesson that I can draw from this is that, another lesson I can draw from this is that don't leave your souvenirs buying to the last day. Because you don't know when you might lose your wallet. Yeah, and this was the last picture of my wallet that I seen on the train or something that I was lost for this trip. So this guy actually made a difference to me. And actually, from then on, every time I look at this note, I will remember to make a difference to others. And if everyone can even make a difference, even if it just help one person. Yeah. So this is the first lesson. So second lesson I'm going to talk about is there's no perfect plan. My wife is very proud of herself for being a super planner. So all the trips she planned everything is so-called. But there's always Murphy's Law. So this trip happens in December 2018 when we were heading up to London, and after that to Liverpool via train, and after that road trip around Scotland. We went to northern Scotland, which is called the Isles of Skye. If anyone been there before? You may not have heard of it, it's not very common, but it's very beautiful, trust me. If you like hiking and scenery, right, maybe you can do a self-drive trip from Glasgow all the way up. And as the perfect plan doesn't exist, we were met with this legendary beast of the East, which is a snowstorm that was one of the worst snowstorms that actually hit UK for decades. And as a result, I have to learn how to, as in, for a Singaporean, it's something very new. We have never driven in winter condition, right? Luckily, my car was quite big, but I'm seeing on the highway, I'm seeing people having accidents all day because it's really very bad traction. I remember one time when I was doing a right turn, I feel like I was like the Jay Chow in Initial D. The back of my car was like drifting. So, but luckily I made it back to the rental company and also the hotel in one piece. And of course, the whole place was like in winter. So we were expecting to climb the outer seat as a height. So this on the left is basically the expected thing to see when we reach Edinburgh. But it became quite bad, covered in snow and everything, so it's not possible to do the hike. So eventually, our train got back to London was cancelled. So in order to actually get back to London, to catch our flight back to Singapore, we have to change our plan totally. So we actually stayed one more day in Edinburgh, wait for the storm to clear down, and actually took a flight back to London, where I still get time to eat my London duck at Chinatown before flying back to Singapore. So, as we can see from this, there's no perfect plan. There's a lot of things in life that, even in trips or in life, that we cannot plan for. So when we have this kind of situation, we actually need to be flexible, and actually, like what Bruce Lee would have said, be like water, my friend, be flexible and deal with the situation as it comes. Okay. This is the third lesson that I've learned from one of my trips. It happens in 12 years ago, and this statement was made by my close friend in Paul when we want to do stupid things. So he always say, when was the last time you did something for the first time? And so we did something. We went for a different kind of graduation trip. This was in 12 years ago, so I look younger then. Yeah, so we went with two of my buddies. We actually went to the States for a 3-month work and travel program. I'm not sure whether you guys heard of it before. So I was there as a theme park operator for like 2-3 months. And we did a lot of the things that we did for the first time. Taking a helicopter over Grand Canyon, watch a live wrestling game, swim in the Atlantic Ocean, even help a ranger move turtle eggs in the Miami Beach. Yeah, but that was not the interesting thing. The interesting thing I remember was a road trip for just 5 guys, same as the American burger joint. 5 guys went on a road trip from where we stay to Myrtle Beach, as you can see. So it was not very, I would say it's quite uneventful. But on the way back, Vince, the guy in red, okay, was on the wheel. So like all road trips, other than the driver, the rest of people, what are they doing?
Sleeping.
Yes, you're right. They're all dozing off. But we are all wakened by this red and blue light shining through our car and a loud siren ringing, blaring. And the next thing we know, we were stopped at the roadside. And the local policeman actually came to stop our car. So he said, he explained that we were speeding. And he asked Vince for his driving license. And he didn't bring his driving license.
Oh.
Okay, that's one. And he asked for his passport. He doesn't have the passport either. So with no driving license, no passport, it looked really, really bad on us. Okay? So 5 Asian, no identity, no driving license, driving a car, speeding in the middle of the US highway. So, but after half an hour of explaining to him, we were all students, international students, we were here to work and travel, everything. He managed to, he was kind enough to let us off. And it was also quite lucky for us because he's a local sheriff. And he said that if we are caught by the highway patrol, right, chances are we will be ending up in the arrested or even fined. Yeah, okay, but this is not, I'm not asking you guys to do speed overseas. This is not something that I would advise to do the first time, but it's a memorable experience for me. Okay? Yeah, so one regret that I have in my US trip is actually that I feel that like Asians like us, we actually don't really step out of our comfort zone to actually mingle with our friends, people in the States. So even though like we make friends or this, but I feel that it's very rushed and superficial. Yeah, so if given the opportunity again, I feel that I would like to actually get to know them better, step out of my comfort zone instead of keep mixing with the same group of friends. Like because we kept to the program participants from Asian countries, basically. So with that, I will end off with my statement, which is go out and try new things, get out of the comfort zone, and actually through traveling, we actually learn some lessons like this. Yep. I'll end off my speech with this. 读万卷书不如行万里路. So to translate, it means to travel 10,000 miles is better than reading 10,000 books. It's a Chinese saying, basically. Yeah, and this was my last trip to Dubrovnik. Any Game of Thrones fans here? Game of Thrones. Nobody watched Game of Thrones, Are you serious? Yeah, so it's at Dubrovnik. Yeah, and I was the little finger with Sansa, my wife. Yeah. So that's our last trip. I'm looking forward to the next trip. I hope you guys will enjoy traveling as well.